So this video is about mixed numbers and fractions greater than 1, which are also called improper fractions. Now, the first thing is that if you understand the concept of a fraction equal to 1, or some people call it the giant one or the mighty one, then that's really going to help you a long way in terms of understanding fractions and how to do operations with fractions. So a fraction equal to 1 is, if you go back to just the basic concept, that this fraction bar tells you to do division. So 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. So any number where you've got the same numerator and the same denominator, sorry, my pen's a little thick here, is going to be equal to 1. So for example, 6 over 6, 6 divided by 6 is equal to 1. Now, we're going to use this concept once again to help us access how to do fractions. So the first thing is we're going to talk about mixed numbers. And why is it called a mixed number? Because it's a mix of a whole number and a fraction. Now, going back to just like hearing how you say the word, you would say this as 3 and 1/2. So what I'm doing is I'm taking 3 wholes, and I could break this down into 3 wholes and 1/2. And now we know that in order to add fractions, they all need to have the same denominator. So these wholes that I'm adding are all going to have, so these are all going to be fractions equal to 1, 2 divided by 2, 2 divided by 2, 2 divided by 2. In order to add, they all need to have the same denominator. So when I add, I have 2, 4, 6, 7 halves. You can always go back and check to see if you did it properly. Once again, this means division. 7 divided by 2 goes in 3 whole times with 1 piece left over, and each of the pieces is 2. Now, I know there are shortcuts on how to do this. A lot of people say, oh, you just multiply and add, but what you're really doing is you're adding 3 wholes, and this is why you're getting that 6 plus 1. Okay, so 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1, but it's because of this. Now, this here is a fraction that's greater than 1, and we know that it's greater than 1 because 3 over 3 is equal to 1, and there's more parts in the numerator. So I've got a little extra. So once again, 3 over 3 is equal to 1, and how many pieces left do I have? I have 2 pieces left. So this is equal to 1 and 2/3. Once again, there's shortcuts that people teach you, but it's important to understand the math behind it, like why this happens, so that you can always go back to the understanding if you forget the shortcut. And if you understand the reasoning behind it, then the shortcut will naturally kind of evolve, and you'll just kind of see those eventually. So the shortcut that people often teach you is, once again, going back to what does that fraction bar means. It means division. So if I go 5 divided by 3, 3 goes in 1 whole time, and then I've got 2 parts over. So if you remember, like in elementary school, you'd write remainder 2, but we're writing this remainder as a fraction because it's a part of a whole, so 1 whole and 2 parts left over, and each part is out of a whole that's cut into thirds. Okay, so I'm going to recommend that you kind of hit the pause button and change these either from mixed numbers to improper fractions or improper to mixed. Kind of hit the pause button and come back. And once again, I really am going to encourage you to try to do it with showing unit giant ones or mighty ones, however you want to say it, in order to kind of understand why it works. So I'm going to show that way, and you can obviously use the shortcuts eventually, but I want you to kind of get the meaning behind it. So once again, if you said this, so you hit the pause button, you come back, okay. So this is 1 and 2/5. In order to add fractions, they need to have the same denominator. Being that this is a fraction equal to 1, it's 5 divided by 5, 1 whole. So I get 5 plus 2, 7 fifths. The shortcut, once again, means 5 times 1. There's our 5, plus 2. There's our 2. Same thing. 2 plus 1, 2 and 1/4. So I have 2 wholes and 1/4. In order to add, I'll need to have the same denominator. So a fraction equal to 1 is 4 over 4, 4 over 4. So I have 4, 8, 9 fourths. The shortcut, 4 times 2 is 8. Here's my 8 plus 1, 9 fourths. Working the other way, I'm going to look for how many, so my wholes, so this is, the numerator is greater than, it's a fraction greater than 1 because the numerator is greater than the denominator. So a whole would be 3 over 3. So I still have, I have a couple of wholes that I have. So 3 over 3 and 3 over 3, this is 6 thirds, and I have 1/3 left. So I have 2 and 1/3. Doing the division, you'd say how many times does 3 go into 7? 2 wholes with 1 remaining part, and each part is 1/3. Same thing here. My denominator is 5. 5 over 5 is 1 whole. And then how many pieces do I have left over? 3. So this is 1 and 3 fifths. Doing the other method, 5 goes into 8 one time. Once again, remembering that this is division. And I know that my answer is more than 1 whole, so I better set it up so that I end up with an answer more than 1 whole. And I have 3 parts left over. So this is the same as 1 and 3, and my parts are fifths. So 1 and 3 fifths. Okay, so once again, there's lots of obviously internet practice you can do. Really important to understand the meaning of why this works, so that the shortcut isn't really a shortcut. It's actually just, it will naturally develop, the shortcuts will, but I think it's really important to understand the math behind it.